We are happy to have today with us CBS2 anchor Rob Morrison.
Thank you so much. It is certainly a pleasure to be with you here today, and I'd like to thank you all for coming out and participating. So we're here today, January 6th, to mark the 70th anniversary of a very famous speech delivered, of course, by an extremely important man, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Now, of course, you know the name, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, because your school is named after him. But what do you really know about the man? And what do you know about this speech and why we're here today to talk about it? A speech that was so personal that FDR wrote the words himself without the aid of a speechwriter. And you'll rarely hear a speech as eloquent as the one that FDR delivered this day 70 years ago. During the State of the Union address to Congress, FDR addresses not only the nation, but the world with the four freedoms. They are the freedom of speech and expression, freedom of worship, freedom from want, freedom from fear. Things that we still hold dear to ourselves in this nation today. And your school's named after him. That's pretty cool. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome Ambassador VandenHeuvel to speak about FDR.
Rob mentioned that the country had 25% unemployed. Today we have 9.5%, and we think it's a terrible situation. And it is. Anybody who has lost a job or who needs a job, unemployment is scary. But Franklin Roosevelt came as president in 1933, the country was terribly torn. Thousands of banks were closed, and the financial system was really in great disarray. Franklin Roosevelt became president in that environment, and a country that was so fearful, so undermined in terms of its own confidence, watched with great alertness as the president spoke to the people of the United States on March 4th, 1933, and said, "We have nothing to fear but fear itself." That's the America that I like to think of. A country that's self-confident, that's careful in its opinions of other people and other countries, but doesn't fear anything because we have the confidence in democratic ideals that Franklin Roosevelt articulated so well. Now today in New York, we've undertaken a great project, and we're going to let you in on it first of all. As a memorial to Franklin Roosevelt, we are building the Four Freedoms Park. Actually, this began in 1973, 37 years ago, the idea of it. And this is going to be a permanent, enduring expression of our country's commitment to the Four Freedoms. So on this day, 70 years after he gave the speech, we are about 2 years away from opening the park. And I invite all of you to join us on that day when we open the park, because it's going to be a great day for New York City. It's going to be a wonderful place to learn history, because it's going to be digitized. So with your cell phone, you're going to be able to point to something 100 different places in this park, and you're going to learn the history of the Roosevelt era, what happened in those days.
A lot of people were encouraged with the election of Barack Obama. They saw in him hope for change, the type of change that many people thought desperately needed in Washington. Yet through the first few years of his presidency, he's run into the same partisanship we've become accustomed to.
I think President Roosevelt would have taken such pride in our country that it elected someone like Barack Obama as its president. A man of such intelligence and decency, a man of ideals, and a man who's worked so hard for his country and has come so far. I think we all should be proud, whether we agree with Barack Obama as a Democrat or as a leader of the presidency, that's not important. We should all take great pride that this country elected him and that he, in fact, is leading us so well.
Why did it take so long to build the park?
Why did it take? A good question. I was there in 1973 when Governor Rockefeller announced it and promised it. Several things happened. Governor Rockefeller was made Vice President of the United States and left for Washington. Kahn, the great architect, finished the drawings and the project and died in Penn Station of a heart attack. And New York City went bankrupt in 1975, essentially. So then the forces that had set this in motion suddenly didn't have the resources to complete it. And about 5 years ago, all through these years, we fought to keep the land available. About 5 years ago, Louis Kahn's son did a documentary called My Architect about his father. And it really created an important stir in America that this great architect, and his last work was this park, and it had never been built. And there was no work by Louis Kahn in New York. So we began, a small group of us, to see if we could raise the money. We need $50 million to build this park, and that's why I've come here today. Because I know you've got it, and I want to take it home with me. Well, we've raised $44 million. We've got $6 million to go. We're definitely going to do it. The momentum's with us. The workers are out there. We've got 200 workers on the island as we speak. Construction began on March 29th, and it's going to be finished in autumn of 2012. And it's going to be a great and wonderful gift to the people of the city of New York and to the world. And I hope all of you will be out there with us to celebrate when we open it.